All right, now it seems good. All right, now I'm back. Come on, baby. Be good to me. All right, I'm back now. All right, I don't know what happened. Funny, glitch effects happen. And honestly, we wanted just a visual representation of it. We didn't really want this to glitch out, but that happens sometimes. Good to have you here. We're gonna dive into this right now. So thank you so much for joining me. Yeah, weird glitch, weird stuff. My bandwidth was great, but we're gonna dive into this daily creative challenge. I'm gonna switch screens right over here. Apologies. And you can see right in here, it is all about creating, oops, let's go back, creating glitch effects. So if you're joining me elsewhere, this is what we're doing. Good to see you, Given and Froja and everyone. Right here, glitch effect, get started with that file. You have that file right now. I'm just kind of pasting that a couple different places. And my voice is skipping a little bit. All right. So everything should be good now, by the way. So I'm going to get started, because otherwise it's out of my control. So let's take a look at this particular file. This is what I'm going to use. Fantastic. Justin says everything is good. So this is a photo. You can use your own photo. You don't have to use this guy. He looks not happy. Almost looks like Scrooge or something. But it's actually Ralph Waldo Emerson. And again, just playing with quotes, says, you know, the mind once stretched by a new idea never returns to its original dimensions. So I just have that little quote down there just for fun, but really we're going to be playing with this layer right over here, Ralph Waldo Emerson. All right, so that's what I'm going to do. Oftentimes I'll just create a duplicate, by the way. I'll just do a Command J or Control J will duplicate that layer. And we can do a number of things with it. In fact, what I want to do is I want to right click, convert it to a smart object. Bam, like that. Okay, so now I've protected those pixels and I still have a backup one back there. Okay, so we have those two. Okay, now I can get into some fun like distortions. Okay, so let's get into this. We go to filter, we can go down to distort. We played with displacement maps yesterday. Okay, so continuing off of that, okay, we displaced a bunch of text, looked pretty cool, but now we can get into some of these others. Pinching is it's gonna literally look like you pinch something. Polar coordinates is gonna give you a sphere. There's ripple. I'll actually jump into ripple. You can see what ripple does is obviously gonna give you these like ripples in this image like so. Okay, so we have that distortion effect. But again, I wanna make it look a little bit more digital and not quite organic in that respect. Shear, diving into shear. And a lot of these actually have been around for a while, and I'm sorry if, yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. But check this out. Shear will allow you to bend that image like so. And that's actually what I want to do is I want to give this a slight bend, right? Just kind of curving that out, and we can add as many of those points as we want. Okay, so we'll just do a slight bend to Ralph Waldo Emerson's face. We can repeat edge pixels that are equal. I'll click OK. Boom, there it is. A little distortion, right? Now, you ready for this? Steve and Chad, everyone? Feel free to, we would love to hear your feedback on our DCC content, barring any, you know, any bandwidth glitches. You know, everybody's at home, so everybody's on. So for this image, check this out. Watch this. I'm going to show the image right here. We will double click on that layer, bring up that layer style. We did this, I think, the first day, by the way, Chad. So right in here, I just want to turn off maybe the red channel. So now it's just showing the green and blue, right? And keep in mind, this is just a black and white image, so technically there's no green or blue data, right? But it is duplicating it. It tends to put green on one side, red on the other side in this case. But I can start to play with these different channels to get the look that I want. But I like this. I like this red. Even this look, again, just gives it that little bit of a distortion, right? Fantastic. So again, just kind of twisted it. And by the way, this is also why I like dealing with smart objects. I can always access shear. That's where it is, right? I could duplicate this, Command J. I could jump that. For this second one, by the way, maybe I just want to show the green or maybe just the blue layer, so I can mix it up and go into shear and bend it the other way to get a different distortion effect. Clicking OK, and now we can see how trippy this gets. Starts to look like an eye chart, right? So, hey Van Dam designer in the house. Good to have you. Hello everybody. Let's do a nice cheers. Cheers, people watching from Bangladesh. If you're joining me elsewhere, feel free. You can jump over to behance.net/Adobe Live. That's where I am hanging out. Yesterday was, what is it? May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. Today is like May the 5th or May the 6th. I don't know. I think Voodoo Val was doing something. Yeah, so I really meant to watch Star Trek yesterday. I just didn't get around to it. It's my joke. All right, let's dive into this. Let's get into this a little bit more. I'm going to turn this back on, so we have this all kind of reset. Let's get into some more fun distortions. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of select the eyes right here. Okay, so we'll just select the eyes. We'll go to Filter, Distort. We already went through a number of these. We went through Shear. Spherize, a lot of these are very straightforward. I get it based on what it says, right? Twirl is going to allow me to kind of twirl or twist that portion of the face too, right? So look at that. It's going to twist it like so. I want to get into Wave. This is one that probably has the most flexibility and power out of all of the distortion tools. Clever Devlin, here's $1. Go see a Star War. That's funny. Yeah, I said Star Trek. Yeah, I love it. I love messing with Val. I wish she was here. I just want to mess with her. Revenge of the 5th. Yeah. So check this out. It might get a little crazy, right? This is typically what it looks like when you first, let's get this back to sign up some sort of resemblance of what it might look like. It's crazy what's going on here. Look at this. It's a lot of fun, but hard to kind of figure out what's happening. And again, I used my last settings, but I'm just showing you how crazy it can start to distort that image, right? It gets pretty intense, especially the number of generators. I don't know why, like, geez, this goes to 1,000. Guess what? I really just want 1 or 2. At max 5, right? I'll put 2 right in there, right? I actually want to have the type not be sine, not be triangle, right? A wave, a triangle, or a square. Boop. There we go. That's what we want. Cool. Yeah, Cinco de Mayo. All right. Yeah, cool. All of Mexico is celebrating your birthday. And is it Carol's birthday? Happy birthday, Carol, if that's the case. So again, keep this number right up here. Keep that really low, right? That's the goal. We can start to play with the wavelength, and you can see what it does, right? It can make small squares, right, to large squares. So hopefully that makes sense as well, right? We can see that happening, okay? The amount it distorts, this is the offset, is what I like to refer to it as, the amplitude. Check this out. You know, you can see it start to distort that face along the way, right? So we can have a little bit of an amplitude. Really, it's your choice. I'm not going to do that much. And then there's the scaling. So even not only the size of the squares is the amplitude, the scale, sorry, let's put me on the other side. The scale is going to be how much it's offset. So the size of the squares and how much it offsets, either horizontally or vertically. I like cranking up the horizontal because I want the lines to kind of go like that. Like that. Let's do something like that. Let's click OK. And you can see what it did to this portion right here. Kind of messed with his eyes. And you get the idea. Also, I can disable that filter mask. You can see what it did to the whole image, right? Let's turn that back on. Oops. But from here, with just the eyes done, I can go back in and do that same thing. Double click right in here and just show, say, the red channel, right? And now we have some distortion like right there, okay? So that's what I'm doing right now. Hopefully this makes sense. Playing with wave, maybe doing a Command J to jump it, maybe moving this mask around to some other place, changing the wave a little bit more. Maybe it's more drastic. Let's stretch it out even more. Click OK. Right, and now you can see this part being a little bit more like extreme, kind of putting it down here like so. And by the way, I can always turn that on and change the color or have that actually distort as well. All right, let's actually go in here and change this a little bit. I actually like it kind of distorting the image. So let's add a little bit of white. Let me know if you have questions. I'm here for you. Van Damme's in the house. Cool. Oh, Jellify tool will be more fun. I don't know what you're talking about, a Jellify tool, ND, I see you over there. But what you can also do, just like we did down here with shear, we could do something similar. In fact, let's just turn off that shear. And we did this the other day. You could always go into Liquify and play with this. So if there was ever a jelly filter, it would be right in here, allowing you to kind of distort this image and stretch out parts accordingly. Okay, so again, just adding a little bit like that and then changing it. See, all based on that channel. Cool. Let's turn on a couple of these. We can start to see how crazy this gets. Let's bring this one to the bottom. And by the way, I hopefully you use your own photos. I would love to see you kind of use your own, an image of yourself would be cool. Okay, but let's get into some more of this. Okay, so again, we're trying to make this look digital. Maybe it's kind of a cross between old tube TVs and like modern digital effects. And there's a lot we can do. I'm gonna do one more thing and I'm gonna show you some bonus materials as well. So thanks for hanging out with me. All right, so new layer, bam, bam. Filling it with just, hey, why not white? A new layer just filled with white. This is gonna be our texture layer. So we're gonna add texture right in here, okay? We'll convert this to a smart object as well. Let's put me back on the other side, bam. Filter, this time, again, we've discovered so many in Distort. There's a couple more I can get into, but this is, I'm gonna do 3 more things in the next 10 minutes. We'll go to Filter Gallery. Okay, let's actually select any one of these. This is actually just, it's just white, so we're not really seeing anything happen. I'm clicking through sketching, but we can see like distort, like what's going on here? What are you, there's nothing there to paint or to add paint dabs to, but what is in here, as we take a look, is there's this halftone pattern. Let me change this back to what it usually is. Dots, there we go. Check this out. This is a halftone pattern. Let's increase this size so you can see it. It looks like an eye chart. I know it hurts, okay? Yeah, our tube TV never looked like that. Yeah, tube TVs. Do you ever put a magnet on a tube TV? Do you know what happens when you do that? It ends up looking like a distortion effect, like we just made. Because trust me, my little brother did that and ruined our TV. But what I want to do right over here for this halftone pattern, I'm going to drop this down and change that to line. There we go, lines that we can scale any way we want. So I'll just go with 3. We'll click OK. We have those lines. What do? We want to change the blend mode. So just changing that blend mode to something like overlay. Or soft light, but it's either going to be one or the other, whatever works for you. I'm just going to make this soft with soft light. Let's take down the opacity, right? And we just added some lines in there to give it some texture. But yeah, this is kind of what would happen. This is what would happen if you would actually put a magnet on an old tube TV. You would get shear. You would get this wavy, weird color thing. Did anybody ever do that? Ruined, it's been ruined, right? So there we are, right? Distorting that. Let's do a little bit more of this. You ready for this? One more distortion effect, and then I'm gonna show you some added resources as well. Hello, Given from beautiful South Africa. Awesome. Yeah, that's what I'm going for, kind of, Susanna. Sort of an old meets new. This distortion effect is what we're going for. Use your own photo, though, as I encourage you to, right? I'm just using, you know, some royalty-free photos, right? From probably the Library of Congress or something. I'm not sure exactly where this one came from. I should have written it in the layer name. All right, let's move on. Because for this, let's do one more. Wait for it. Boom. Put this on top just so we can see it a little bit better. Wait for it. Okay, so here we're back to our original. Okay, showing you one more in filter. We just explored all of distort. Well, we can go down into Stylize. Stylize also has some fun like distortion effects as well. No, Sig Brown, I didn't. Magnets are horrible. Okay, so diffuse, like extrude, you could do a number of things, right? You could play with all of these, like this extrude texture, right? Makes it look like it's popping out, right? That's okay. I still want to do something that's still distortion-like. Find edges, right? You get what that looks like as well. Have fun with those. I would actually go down in here to wind, right? We want to add a little bit of wind to it. So selecting wind, what you get is you get this like pixel, I forget what it's called. It's like a pixelation, pixels sort of falling or getting blown to the side, right? This is the wind, right? In here, right? And again, we can go with something subtle, a blast. I personally like blast the most. And then stagger gives it a little bit of depth, which is also kind of cool, right? We could have it come from the left or the right. Since he's looking kind of to the his right, I'm gonna have it come from the left, right? Click OK. And then we have that wind blast look as well, okay? For that wind blast look, again, I can play with masks, or I could just turn on or turn off some of the other channels, and now you can see that blast of red right here. Cool? Does that make sense? Wow, that's great skill. I don't know if it's really skill. It's just selecting buttons in an app. But it's all about which ones to use, right? Obviously, like which effects are going to work well together and which ones aren't, right? But we've already done a number. So far, I really like this one. And thank you, Victoria. That's very sweet of you. So cool. Oh, see, Mia knows her nephew destroyed a TV that way as well. So there's some other bonuses that you can kind of dive into. Go to File, New, okay, and then you can go into a number of one. I like to go into Art and Illustration, and then also there is Film and Video. We'll give you like a number of like effects that look very kind of glitchy that you could take advantage of. Under Art and Illustration, I have these mirror elements. And by the way, if you decide to like grab one of these, and let me see if I could find something else I could download that's cool. You know, Urban Textures, for instance, it's 183 megs, right? So you'll click download, it's saying, hey, whoa, this is large. And then it'll say, hey, you know, again, these are free, so that's cool. But it'll download them behind the scenes. Right, so I don't have to wait for this progress bar. Don't worry about waiting for it. Just hit close, open up your library panel, okay? And in your library panel, that's where your files will exist. Right in here, stock templates, that's what you want to pick. Sure enough, there are all the textures that are being downloaded. But check this out, like look at some of this cool stuff. The mirror elements is an 800 meg file, and you can see why. Look at all this crazy stuff in here that I can consider using for my project. My pro tip is to hold down the command key, click on what you want, and then it will actually highlight that those poster effects in this case right here. Ooh, and these fun images are right back here, and that's what I can potentially play with. Command T. Let's get rid of that one. Let's grab some of this stuff. Drop it in here, maybe drop it and use it in my file if I want to. Wait for it. Grab this whole folder. Yeah, there we go. We got it. We got it. Anyways, just wanted to share that with you. Going back in here, again, this is just my very blatant my promo. Geez, you're probably sick of seeing this, but again, this is just the idea of grabbing a selfie, right? using some of these materials as well, right, I can kind of control what I select and distort the image based on what's selected, right? So let's make a mask. There it is. So this is actually, let's invert it. Let's see what we're getting. Let's move this. I'm gonna move my face. You ready for this? You ready for this glitch effect? I use this like burst as a, to capture the mask. Okay, now I've applied that as a mask because I selected it and then I added it as a layer mask. Hello, Tree. Good to have you here. I apologize if I butchered your name. Let's invert this. Let's throw some more levels on that bad boy. There we go. Did I do it? Let's see. Wait. Ah, there we go. Sorry, I was not. There we go. Let's increase. There we go. There we go. See that distortion that's happening? Turn this off, right? That's what I just created right there. Just kind of this mask, and then you can see it starts to break apart my face and distort it accordingly. Again, I thought that was kind of fun. Feel free to do what you want. Take that, apply it to your other image as well, right? Again, that's what I did here is I just kind of dropped those both in there. Maybe this adds something to it, maybe it doesn't. Typically I throw a lot at an image and then I start to curate and pull back. So yes, and answer your question, yes, Paula, I added it as a layer mask. Froge is in the house, I see ya. Cool, well thank you so much everybody, kind of coming down to the wire. The last minute. Hopefully today's treating you well. Feel free to have fun, jump in there, use this image, kind of distort your own, right? Just go crazy. Look at that, let's go crazy, you know? Playing with different distortion effects that is in Photoshop as I do that right now. Let's go in here. Distort with wave. The cool thing is it remembers the last settings, but it's always going to be based on your resolution. So right now this resolution is pretty intense and pretty high, but there's some fun distortion effects. You get the idea. So thanks for watching everybody, hanging out with me on this fine what, May the 6th? Is that right? 5th? I don't know. Something like that. May the 4th? I don't know. Cinco de Mayo, I don't know, whatever you are celebrating these days. Me, I'm celebrating Star Trek. Just to annoy everybody who likes Star Wars. And I like Star Wars too, but I'm also ornery sometimes. So thanks so much for watching. I'm gonna leave you with the schedule. Join me tomorrow as well. Thank you so much, everyone. See ya.